Hey, this is Adam again from BRYTER, and we're going to do a second video that will level up just a bit the first video, or level up on the first video. First video was a 15-minute prototype from start to finish to generate a term sheet, and we used ChatGPT to help us with some of the templating and the data. What we're going to do with this video is sort of take it up a notch and instead of having the term sheets generated one by one, we're actually going to implement a batch processing method that will let us generate them all quite quickly automatically. So we have our existing prototype, which you've seen in the other video. If I go back into the builder workspace or author workspace, I'm going to create a couple of new modules. The first is going to be we're going to call this batch trigger, and I'm going to call it term sheet generation. Okay. And our second module is going to be our batch target. And that is kind of a wonky sounding term, but basically we're going to be doing a method here where we collect a bunch of records and then we execute a module for each record in that collection. And that batch processing, we typically think of it as having a trigger module and then a target module. So for the target module, I'm actually just going to duplicate this term sheet generation piece that we've already built, so I don't have to, recreate the wheel. And I'm going to rename it. And when I duplicated it, pulled over, the template and all the values, all that previous work. So term sheet generation. And the only thing I'm going to change about this is that the first thing, because this is going to be a batch process, it needs to be a headless or browserless module, which means it won't be driven by a user. It'll be driven kind of behind the scenes automatically, system to system. So I don't want to have something like this, which is a user-facing node. We're not going to have any user-facing nodes. So this is going to end the module, and we also don't want to be redirecting. All right, so that's the main change. The other change I need to make is because this is a headless module, there won't be a URL query parameter. We need to instead make this a start parameter, which is simply BRYTER's way of feeding data automatically to a headless or browserless module. So we can actually delete that. We've replaced it with a start parameter, and we're going to reference that start parameter in our database nodes. These are all these mappings stay the same. We also need to reference that start parameter in our update node. Okay, so this is our target of the batch process. We'll go ahead and publish that. That's good to go. And we'll go back to our trigger now. And our trigger has to do the work to collect the records that are going to need to receive this batch process. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to start with a simple input that just asks, are you ready to go? Because this is all going to happen very quickly, so we want to just have a pause before we trigger it so we can all follow along what's going on. I'll just call this confirm. And then if we've confirmed, then we'll do something. We'll actually get all the records that we want to generate documents for. And so we're going to do that by reading from our database, our investments database. And we're going to use, instead of find a record, we're going to use filter records. And so that's going to be a query against the database. And for simplicity, I'm actually going to do a filter. I mean, we could define conditions and criteria to, limit our filtering a bit. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to pull them all in because there's only 10 of them. And so we'll pull them all in. I don't really need all these fields. I'm just going to pull in the ID. That's the only thing I really need here. And actually, let's do something a little more interesting. We'll pull in some of these other fields. And we'll have them just in case we need them. Let's put it that way. So we're going to get records from database. Now we're going to do the work to actually trigger our other module. So we're going to use this action called run module on collection. We're going to run the module on this collection we just built, and the module we're going to run is our batch target, and it's expecting an investment ID start parameter. So we're going to use our ID. We're going to pass that as ID. We'll call this run term sheet generation module. And then we'll be done. And just to be fun, we'll go to Giphy and we will celebrate with an appropriate GIF. I did that wrong. Let's insert a GIF. All right. So that's how we'll know we're done. We're going to publish this. All right. So when we run this module, what's going to happen is it's going to ask us to confirm that we want to proceed. We're ready to go. As soon as we say yes, we only need the yes option there. It's going to pull in all the records from the database, and then it's going to run the term sheet generation module for each record in the database, and then we'll celebrate. So publish. All right, and we're going to add this to our application front end, which you remember was our way of presenting a navigation menu with the modules or the data views inside. And so we're going to include this, and we're going to say, batch generate term sheets in bulk. Save that. All right. Now, if we open this, so again, we have our list of investments, and we could go one by one if we wanted to, but what we're going to try to do is do all of them. All right, so I'm going to click on this, and as soon as I click on this, it's going to pop up that first question just to confirm that I want to proceed. And when I say yes, it's going to go. All right, celebration. We are ready to announce that it's done, and we can now look at our investments list and just make sure that all the term sheets were generated. And there we go. All right, we've got term sheets for all our records that are completed now. And I'm going to add one more little twist, little tweak to this to make it a little more user-friendly. I'm going to add an action here that allows us to view the term sheet. So we need another module called view term sheet. And this module will be expecting another parameter called investment ID. And it's going to use that parameter to read the record from the database. And then it's going to display to the right, using our document viewer, the term sheet from the database. And once we are done with that, we'll actually redirect to our data view again. All right, so I'm going to publish this. And I'm going to update our data view. Call this investments. And the update I want to make here is just to add another action on the right. So we've got create term sheet. That's great. Let's do a new one. And the destination module there will be view term sheet, and we'll be needing to pass investment ID as parameter. We'll update that. All right, now if we go back to our prototype and we look at investments, Now we can view all of the term sheets we've created. So with this view term sheet action. So if we want to look at Theta Technologies, actually let's look at Gamma Corp, view term sheet. All right, there it is. And it should route us back to the list. And let's look at another one, Alpha Innovations. There we go. All right, so that's a nice little twist on our original prototype, and that is allowing us to do in bulk, in batches, larger numbers of automated doc generation or doc updating. And we're doing this with only 10 records in a database, but you can imagine a much, much larger number of records that would really start to accelerate what can be done to make things more efficient and more standardized across a large number of instances of a document. So that's the end of the sort of show and tell. Again, if you have any questions or want to talk this through or see it live one-on-one, reach out to us. We'd be happy to share it with you. Thanks so much. Bye.